And before we get started with the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, you got to check out some links in the post below here, either on the podcast or the YouTube channel. First up is Robo Killer. No, it's not something to stop Terminator 2 to come to get you. But stop spam calls. Almost as bad as Judgment Day. Yes, I get terrible phone calls all the time about health insurance, Google, AdWords stuff. It's just a lot of spam phone calls. But RoboKiller has blocked 70, helps blocks among the 70 billion spam calls people get every year. So you won't get all 70 billion. You'll get a whole lot less with RoboKiller. So check it out today. You can save 20% on their annual plan. Not too shabby, if you ask me. And then, of course, if you need social media services, there's no one better than Social Bee. Do all sorts of things. You can post on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, as well as Pinterest and Google My Business. And just keep your social media accounts organized. So check out socialbee.io. The link is below in this post for the podcast version of the show. If you click on it, it does help support the show. Okay, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor podcast.
Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and not the most popular person on Instagram, although amateur Instagrammer. And welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day, such as my own. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want to engage with you. I want you to be a part of the conversation. So you can find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the Cameo at Colt S. Taylor. And you can catch the podcast version of this show at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And then from time to time, I am live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Colt S. Taylor as well. All these links can be found pretty easily at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. All right, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up, this week's celebrity and Instagram news. The incredibly talented Selena Gomez is now the world's Instagram's most followed woman on Instagram, dethroning Kylie Jenner from that spot. Selena Gomez, obviously the artist and musician, also amazing part of Only Murders in the Apartment Building, the series with her, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. Highly recommend. I do not listen to Selena Gomez music, but I love her in the series. Oh my goodness, she is so good. You should definitely check it out. I am a tremendous fan of her comic work. But anyways, she is now the most followed woman on Instagram. This week she crossed 380,644,778, which is about 220,000 more followers than Kylie Jenner, who is also north of 380 million followers. Just for reference, there's only 331 million people in the United States as of 2020. So, yeah, that's a whole lot of people. But anyways, she dethroned Kylie Jenner. She was crowned, actually, Selena Gomez became the most followed woman on Instagram in 2019. Then Ariana Grande became the most followed woman on Instagram when she released her albums Thank You Next and Positions. And then Kylie Jenner dethroned Ariana Grande in January 2022, which I believe I covered on my show, when she became the first woman to hit 300 million followers on Instagram. Pretty crazy. You're probably asking yourself, hey, Colt, how does Selena Gomez handle 380 some million followers? Well, she has someone do it for them. Yes, that's right. Well, she does post her own content. She records it. She has an assistant post the content for her, and then also someone else to go through the comments and pick out nice comments, because let's face it, folks, Instagram, social media as a whole is terrible. It is a terrible invention that we have made. Has connected people, absolutely. People have found their people. It also makes it easier for awful people to, say terrible things. So, much like how medicine has increased life expectancy by fighting diseases, that science has also made chemical weapons and biological weapons as well. So, science can help, it cannot help. Social media, kind of the same thing. She actually took a 4-year hiatus from Instagram. She said in 2022 because, quote, it changed my life completely. I'm happier, I'm more present, I connect with more people after her social media break. So she also said in Vanity Fair, because she outsources all of her social media accounts. She has an assistant do it. She says, people can call me ugly and stupid, and I'm like, whatever, but these people get detailed. They write paragraphs that are so specific and mean. I would constantly be crying. I constantly had anxiety. I couldn't do it anymore. It was a waste of my time. So, obviously, she got millions of dollars. She hired someone to do that. However, there, despite having folks, there is, still some drama that filters through on Instagram. There was various rumors of her rivalry with Kylie Jenner, her rivalry with Hailey Bieber, which is married to her ex-boo, Justin Bieber, and she had to put out statements to deny that those things are actually going on. Both Kylie Jenner and Selena Gomez both denied it, that there's any beef between them. Apparently there was some thought they were making fun of each other's eyebrows. I don't know. But, yeah. So she is now number one. And then, after she claimed that title, the day after, she decided to take a break from social media. That's right. A day after she became the most followed woman on Instagram, she is taking a break from social media. She posted on TikTok, her TikTok live, she said, quote, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a second from social media because this is a little silly. I am 30 and I am too old for this. But I love you so much, and I'll see you guys sooner than later. I'm just going to take a break from everything. So, when she comes back, she may or may not be number one, but she's taking a break from social media. I am well over 30. I'm too old for social media, but I also don't have 380 million followers, and I'm not hanging out with Steve Martin or Martin Short. So, I, Colt Sebastian Taylor, will remain on social media, picking fights with flat earthers and anti-vaxxers and the such. But anyways, Selena Gomez, number one followed woman on Instagram, and then has graciously decided to step away from social media for a wee bit. I would hazard the guess, once the next season of Only Murders comes out on Netflix, again, a show you should watch, she'll probably be back. She will probably be back. Moving along in celebrity news, some sad celebrity news. Actor, comedian, author Richard Belzer passed away this week at the age of, I believe, 78. Passed away in France. He was a longtime comedian, writer, actor. He was on a variety of Law and Order shows, spanning almost 20 years, I believe. Over 20 years, probably about 20 years, whatnot. He played Detective Munch on Law and Order. Now, also, as a bit of as a bit of trivia, he betrayed Detective Munch in many different shows that were on 6 different networks. One of the only the third actor ever to play the same character in 6 different primetime TV series. That's right, my friends, in TV series. The other 2 actors who made this accomplishment, they're both from the same series. John Ratzenberger and George Wench, who played Cliff Clavin and Norm Peterson from Cheers. They also appeared on Saint Elsewhere, The Tortellis, Wings, The Simpsons, and Frasier. The Tortellis and Frasier being actually spin-offs of Cheers itself. So Richard Belzer, he played this character, Detective Munch, on Homicide, Life on the Streets on NBC, Law and Order on NBC, and some of these other things. He made guest appearances as this character. He appeared as this character on The X-Files on Fox, The Beat on UPN, Law and Order, Trial by Jury, NBC, Arrested Development on Fox, The Wire on HBO, 30 Rock on NBC, Law and Order Special Victims Unit on NBC, Jimmy Kimmel Live on ABC, and The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix. That's right. He played that character on all of these different shows. Like the same person. So in this person's universe, you know, the canon, this is the same character, and he has appeared on all of these different shows. So in the Detective Munch universe, all of these shows are connected. All these shows are connected. That is just, you know what? That is just crazy. That is crazy for me. Richard Belzer portrayed Detective Munch on 22 consecutive seasons of Homicide for 7 seasons, Law and Order for 15 seasons, and it exceeded the previous primetime live-action record for 20 consecutive seasons, held by James Arness, who played Marshall Matt Dillon on Gunsmoke from 1955 to 1975, and Kelsey Grammer, who played Dr. Frasier on Cheers and Frasier from 1984 to 2004. Crazy. This record was recently passed by SVU's co-star Mariska Hargitay on that one. So, yeah. He also appeared on a variety of Comedy Central Friars Club roasts. He was a frequent guest on that. He did a voice on South Park. He appeared on Sesame Street. Just pretty amazing stuff. Now, I mentioned that he passed away in France. That's right. He passed away in France. That particular French place he got from Hulk Hogan. Did Hulk Hogan buy it for him? No. 4 days before the first WrestleMania, he hosted a cable talk show called Hot Properties, and Hulk Hogan put him in a wrestling move. He passed out. Hulk Hogan dropped him. He hit his head on the floor, and was lacerated, and sued him for $5 million. He settled for $400,000 out of court in 1990, and then used that money to buy his French estate, which he calls Belleroux-sur-Mer, or Ches Hogan, or the Hulk Hogan estate. So that is pretty crazy. Other trivia information, he's the cousin of Henry Winkler. That's right. The Fonz, cousin Winkler. He also was a huge conspiracy theory guy. He loved conspiracy theories. He loved to talk about it. He regularly appeared on the Alex Jones Show. In fact, he appeared on the Alex Jones Show during the Boston bombings, which he thought it was a false flag event. So, you know, he had his faults. But anyways, amazing actor, character actor, comedian, writer, Richard Belzer. Richard Belzer, who retired from acting in 2016. Had a career from 1972 to 2016. Passed away this week at the age of 78 in France. An amazing character. I can only hope I can manage Colt Sebastian Taylor on 6 different networks. That'd be amazing. But he did. One of 3 actors in the history of cinema to do it. We now go to San Francisco, California. San Francisco has a large Asian American population there. Has been there for many years. Except for World War II when the United States carted everyone off on the West Coast to concentration camps. And that was really, how do you say, terrible thing we did. But since then, still a lot of Asian Americans and Asian descended people in California who have gotten a wee bit of abuse lately. A lot of abuse lately. It's been increasing over the years, only more to be multiplied by COVID-19 originating from China and whatnot. So there's a lot of bigoted people out there. One incident happened this week that caught my attention is someone filmed someone on a bus who was yelling at various Asian women around them, calling them various names, and he's holding 2 cartons of eggs, and he threw eggs at like 3 people, left the bus, and then threw more eggs at the bus as the bus leaves. I mean, is he made of eggs? Eggs are really expensive, you know? Throwing eggs in today's economy? It is not a cost-effective way to be a racist bigot, I would have to say. I mean, the guy obviously spends a lot of time being a mouth breather, slack-jawed yokel. Obviously terrible with his money. I mean, he threw about $5 worth of eggs and 4 eggs. That's just crazy stuff. And speaking of crazy people, there was another incident in my neck of the woods in Hatboro, Pennsylvania, where someone was demanding a refund because they did not like the fact there were Spanish words on the menu. And of course, you know, this person thinks that English is the official language of the United States. It is not. It's not like, you know, Canada where everything is being French and English, whatnot. There is no official language in the United States. So the person had the menu in both languages. She just didn't like that it was in Spanish, and that her father fought in World War II, and that everyone's an illegal immigrant, and then, you know, she wanted her money back, and she was filmed the entire time also. Then she got out her phone, filmed everyone else, and said she was being bullied because she was white. So, obviously, she's going to lose her job real soon because the internet is tracking down people. If I could just give a bit of advice to the folks that have never left the 1970s, 1960s, your general room temperature IQ, slack-jawed yokels out there. Listen, I know you thought between 2016 and 2020 that there were no consequences from speaking your mind and whatnot, that you think freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. I realize you are not smart people, all right? You're not smart people. You're fake patriots. A lot of you are fake Christians too. But let me just give you a bit of advice. It is 2023. 98% of the population has a cell phone, okay? With very good high-speed internet. Most of them, you know, can watch their YouTubes and their TikToks and whatnot. So, there are cameras everywhere, okay? So, if you do something stupid, if you do something that you may not think is bigoted, but guess what? Society has changed a wee bit. You're going to get recorded, and you're going to lose your effing job. That's the way society works. It is not cancel culture. It's called consequence culture. The consequences of being a bigoted douchebag. That is what happens. That is what happens. If I was like that, I would lose my job. Listen, folks, I am a funny person. I do improv comedy from time to time and whatnot. I keep up with culture. I understand what can be said and what cannot be said. When I was doing stuff in 2005, I said things that I would not say now. I wouldn't say now. I'm sure I'm saying things now. In 10 years, I probably won't say that. I recognize that because I am not a room temperature IQ'd slack-jawed yokel. Okay? If you can't appreciate how things change over time, you get left behind. And now, people don't have to put up with your ridiculousness. Okay? You don't have a right to be a bigoted moron. You don't. If you have lots of money, maybe, sure, why not? But most of us don't. So, if you're upset that you can't call people ethnic slurs, blame the 1% because they have all the money and you don't. And, if you have lots of money, you can do what you want, but we live in a time where inflation has made it that bar a whole lot higher. So, anyways, to get off of my soapbox here, don't be jerks to people. It's not that hard. But I'll tell you what is hard, my friends. It's hard not to miss my pal DC. That's right. DC, our in-house DJ here, has 3 shows every week on AWSM Radio. First up, Fridays at 9 p.m. It's DC Live in Effect. You don't want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beats from South Florida every single week. And then on Saturdays, it's DC House Party Saturdays. DC will bring his freestyling DJing to the max. House Party Saturdays gives you all the berry vibe without actually having to go down to god-awful Florida. From the top clubs to the bars, DC will bring the party to you Saturdays at 10 p.m. And then it's DC Live in Effect again, Sundays. Getting ahead of myself. Sundays at 10 p.m. as well. So, just to review, Friday, 9 p.m., DC Live in Effect. Saturday, 10 p.m., DC House Party Saturdays. And then Sunday, 10 p.m., DC Live in Effect again. Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Speaking of Florida, as you know, Florida is run by Governor Ron DeSantis, who former President Donald Trump has many different names for. Ron DeSanctimonious, Meatball Ron, a whole bunch of names. But anyways, Ron DeSantis in Florida is a Republican state. It's got a Republican governor, Republican legislature with a supermajority. They can pretty much do whatever they want. And as you know, the GOP, Republicans, the party of small government. Get the government out of our lives, my friends. That's right. Let people do what they see fit with themselves, raise their children on their own. You should let the government tell you what to do. Terms and conditions may apply. As you know, in Florida, recently Florida has taken back some of the rights from Disney with their special economic district and whatnot. And Ron DeSantis has now put his own folks in there to monitor Disney because Disney was against Florida's quote-unquote don't say gay legislation. And just as small government Ron did, instead of letting business be its business, it decided to pass a law to make things harder for Disney. So there's that. What else here? Oh, of course, pulling classes out of high schools, passing laws allowing parents to pull books out of high schools, reviewing all curriculum in Florida so school districts don't have access to things in there. Again, small government stuff. A state capital telling the rest of the state how to run their school districts. They're banning taking liquor licenses away from various bars that have drag shows. Big time small government stuff. Totally not the heavy hand of government coming down on people to score political points because they're doing things that you don't like, so you're using the tools of government to stop those things and not letting people make their own decisions. Totally small business stuff. My friends, it doesn't stop there, because this week in Florida, a bill was filed to make it illegal for dogs to put their heads out the window. Yes, that's right. The state of small government strikes again by making it illegal for dogs to stick their heads out of windows. If it passed, a dog would not be allowed to extend its head or any other body part outside a motor vehicle while the person is operating the motor vehicle on a public roadway. The bill would generally limit how a dog could be situated inside a vehicle. Canines would need to be secured either by a harness or a pet seatbelt specifically designed for the car, and would not be restrained at the neck or inside a crate that adheres to particular size regulations. Dogs may be held in a person's lap if a crate or harness is not available, as long as the person isn't a driver. Now, my friends, this was filed by a Democratic state senator, so we're small government, but hey, let's tell you how to live your life aspect of the Sunshine State is the entire state. It's both parties and whatnot. So I can't imagine what it's like to live there when you have someone talking out their keister that they're all about small government, except for this and this and this and this and this. Oh, it definitely is. It's hypocritical. It is unbelievably, demonstrably hypocritical. But pretty on brand for Ron DeSantis. So he's running for president, folks. Not officially, but he's going to. We all know he's going to. Currently, we have Donald Trump who's running for president. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, which is an interesting person. And then some random guy announced he was running for president. Vivek Ramaswamy. He's an Indian American, and he is running for president. He wants to put the merit back in America. I don't know what that means. He is super libertarian, I think, but he is going to put the merit back into America, and he thinks diversity isn't our strength unless we lift ourselves up by our bootstraps. I don't know. I haven't really followed him that much, but he was on Tucker Carlson, and he announced he's running for president. He said, "We are in the middle of a national identity crisis, Tucker, where we have celebrated our differences for so long that we forgot all the ways we are really just the same as Americans, bond by a common set of ideas that set our nation into motion 250 years ago." I wonder if he knows what it was like 250 years ago. Listen. United States, fine country. You know, we do a lot of good in the world. Doing a lot of bad in the world too. But I am a firm believer that you should not apply 1780 nostalgia to 2023. Okay, the way things were in 1780 weren't great. Better than some areas of the world. Moved in the right direction, but you are seriously misinformed if you want to bring life back to a simpler times like the 1880s, when there was yellow fever, scarlet fever. You could vote by if you own land. Well, okay, I can see why the GOP would want that. I can see that. Okay, getting off my soapbox once again. I'm wound up this week. Time for some music news. The Beatles, Sir Paul McCartney, and Sir Ringo Starr are joining the Rolling Stones and has recorded parts for an upcoming album for the Rolling Stones. They're going to contribute to it. The two bands have been rivals over the past years, and McCarthy and Sir Mick Jagger have traded some funny tongue-in-cheek swipes at each other over the years, but they are coming together to do some music together for an upcoming album. Paul McCartney is 80 years old. He's 80 years old. That's old, but he's still putting out lots of great content. The album is being produced by Andrew Watts and is in the mixing phase, so it is on its way. Keith Richards released a statement saying that new music was on its way as well. In a belated Happy New Year message from Keith Richards, who's 79, says, "Hi guys, here we are again, wishing you all a belated Happy New Year, and there's some new music on its way, and hopefully we'll get to see you. Let's keep our fingers crossed." That's right. We recorded the new album now, and we are going to LA in a few weeks to carry it on and finish it. Charlie is on some of the tracks, and drummer Steve Jordan. Their drummer Charlie, which I believe I covered, Charlie Watts, passed away in August 2021 at the age of 80 in August 2021. McCarthy called the Rolling Stones in 2021 a blues cover band, and Mick Jagger responded at a concert by saying the Let It Be hitmaker was going to join us in a blues cover later. So that was right around the time when they were recording some stuff as well. But Rolling Stones and two members of the Beatles, coming together with some music. Not the first time. They've contributed to each other in the past. So should be some good stuff. Speaking of music, my friends, you need to listen to the Rock Sessions. That's right. The Rock Sessions is our drive time show, making sure your evening commute home is fun, featuring the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. My friend Rocks will make it rock style, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Only here, my friends. You can only hear her here, so you have to listen. Only here on AWSM Radio. We now go to sports with Major League Baseball, the MLB. There are some new rules for 2023. They have a joint competition committee, a voting body of 4 active players, 4 members appointed by the Major League Baseball, and 1 umpire as part of the 2022-2026 collective bargaining agreement. They get together and they make some rule changes every year. One thing that they've been considering, but haven't done, is having an automatic ball strike system. Basically, robot umps that would use technology to call balls and strikes. They've experimented with it in the minor league season, but they have not really moved forward with that. They are considering it, but it could be a thing. One thing they're doing this year, they want to increase the pace of the game. So they had this last year. There have been some tweaks to it. There's now a pitch timer. There has to be pitches with a certain amount of time to speed up the game. There's a 30-second timer between batters. Between pitches, there's a 15-second timer when there's no one on the base, and a 20-second timer when there are runners on the base. This has been seen to reduce the average length of the game by about 26 minutes. It limits the number of times someone can throw to first base, which has increased stolen base attempts. And this has increased, in minor leagues, base stealing attempts from 2.23 in 2019 to 2.83. So more stolen bases, which people like to see. So the pitcher must, for this rule, the pitcher must begin its motion to pitch before the pitch timer expires. If the pitcher does not make it by this time, he is charged with a ball. If a batter is not in the box within 8 seconds of the timer starting, it's automatically charged with a strike. The timer resets if there's a pickoff attempt, or if the pitcher steps off the rubber. Pitchers are allowed to step off the rubber twice per batter. or unless the runners move. So if they step off the rubber more than once, the person charged with the ball. They can make 2 attempts to pick off someone at a base. Okay, like when they're throwing first base, they can try twice. If they make a 3rd attempt and it fails, the person automatically goes to the next base. So they get 2 chances to pick them off. After that, then they can't. Coaches are allowed to visit the mound 5 times in a game. After the 9th inning, they can get 1 more. And then also, umpires can give extra time if they need, like if a catcher's knee pad breaks, or they can't get a baseball right, or like if there's something just not working well, they can pause things, let people get ready before that timer starts. Another thing that they're doing is limiting defensive shifts. So they used to shift everyone over so one way to sort of cover a field a whole lot better. The team must have a minimum of 4 players on the infield and at least 2 infielders on either side of second base. They used to put like 3 or 4 people on one side of the field for these power hitters that only hit one way. 4 outfielders, the 4 infielders must be within the outer boundary of the infield when pitchers are on the rubber. Infielders may not switch sides. If they are not aligned properly when there's a pitch, the offense can choose an automatic ball or the result of the play. And then the rule does not preclude a team from positioning an outfielder in the infield or in the shallow outfield grass in certain situations, but it does prohibit a 4 outfielder alignment. So infielders must be infields. And then finally, they're having bigger bases. Bases have been traditionally 15 inches square. They will now be 8 inches square. This is done to allow base runners to stay out of harm's way when being thrown. Home plate will remain the same. So these are new rules in Major League Baseball. I think they're good. I went to 1 game last year. I went to Philadelphia Phillies opening day game. Didn't watch or go to another single game the entire year. They went to the World Series, so obviously I need to do that again this year. We now go to Seattle, where this week the city council has voted to become the first U.S. city to outlaw caste discrimination in the city. Caste discrimination is an important issue with the South Asian community there, particularly in Indian and Hindu communities. India's caste system is among the world's oldest forms of rigid social stratification. According to Karishma Sawat, an Indian-American Seattle City Council member, said the fight against caste discrimination is deeply connected to the fight of all forms of oppression. Although the caste system was outlawed in India over 70 years ago, many people who were considered at the lowest levels, known as untouchables, especially the Dalit community, still face a variety of biasism in India, which their upward movement in society have been at times put down violently. The city councilperson continued, caste discrimination doesn't only take place in other countries. It is faced by South Asian American and other immigrant working people in their workplaces, including the tech sector in Seattle and in cities around the country. Says her office introduced a proposal to ban caste-based discrimination in Seattle when they did it. So the debate over the caste system's hierarchy is contentious in India and abroad. It's very intertwined with religion, apparently. Lots of studies on it. They say it's still out there and whatnot, although important steps have been made. The U.S. discrimination laws ban ancestry discrimination, but do not explicitly ban casteism, which is this type of discrimination. So, great first step in Seattle to ban this terrible, terrible caste discrimination. Hopefully other cities who have large South Asia populations will adopt that as well. So, well done. the fine folks in Seattle. Friends, Wednesday nights is the place to be here on AWSM Radio for all things sports. First at 9 p.m., it's To the Rack with Mac. To the Rack with Mac is your go-to spot for all things basketball. Join NBA expert Mac Daddy as he brings you a full hour of high-flying hoops expertise. And then 10 p.m., it's What's Going On. What's Going On is our Fox Sports affiliate show, providing listeners with over 150 combined years of sports knowledge. Hosted by Nate Brown and his crew. They are a national show now, Wednesdays at 10 p.m., and we have them here as well. So, at 9 p.m., To the Rack with Mac. 10 p.m., What's Going On? Only here, my friends, on AWSM Radio. Well, my friends, that just about wraps up this week's Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember, you can find me on the Twitter, on the Facebook, on the Instagram, on Cameo, and on twitch.tv at Colt S. Taylor. You can follow the podcast version of the show, which occasionally has a few extra stories, at anchor.fm/Colt S. Taylor. And of course, for all of your Colt Sebastian Taylor needs, visit ColtSebastianTaylor.com. Hit me up on the social media if you think there's a story I should be covering, or if you want to just chime in. I am always happy to engage with my hundreds of thousands of fans on the social media. All right, until next week, my fantastic AWSM listening friends, I am, of course, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later. And once again, thank you for joining the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. As a reminder, check out the links below. Robo Killer, which will help block spam phone calls to your cell phone. I get entirely too many. And of course, check out socialme.io for all your social media organizational needs. They're great. I use them every week, and you should too. And we'll see you next week on the podcast version of the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, on AWSM Radio.